Welcome to The Hypnotist, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. Brought to you by the hypnotherapist demanded by celebrities, CEOs, and even royalty, Adam Cox. These recordings took place live from Adam's clinic in London's world-famous Harley Street. This podcast features powerful hypnosis, so do not listen while driving or operating machinery. This recording is not suitable for those with epilepsy or severe mental health issues. So, get yourself comfortable and enjoy today's episode of The Hypnotist.
Hi, it's Adam here, and in this episode of The Hypnotist, you're going to be listening to a hypnosis session all about fear of flying. And it was with a client that had a very, very long haul destination. They were flying from the UK all the way to Australia via Singapore. So that meant that they had 4 flights within the space of about 2 weeks. 2 flights to get there and 2 flights to get back. And that was the perfect opportunity for them to banish this fear for good. And a lot of people with phobias, even if they make progress, they have this niggling doubt of, but what if it doesn't work the next time? Or what if I freak out on the next flight? And that becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. What's really useful when we're talking about anxiety and particularly beliefs about fears and phobias is to have what's called a convincer strategy. What has to happen in order for you to believe that you don't have that fear anymore? Because there might be certain things that you believe that you're not afraid of. If I said a kitten, you've got a fairly good sense of certainty that you're not afraid of a kitten. And there'll be loads of things that you have a belief about that fear. And that creates a self-fulfilling prophecy. So when progress is being made, what's really important is that if there are, let's say, echoes or even moments of anxiety, that doesn't mean that you necessarily have the fear. It just means you felt fear at that particular point in time. And I was sharing this story with the client in the actual session. I don't have a fear of flying. I don't have a phobia of flying. But there was one flight where I was on an internal flight in Colombia, and almost everyone on the plane right before we took off started praying. I'm not a religious person, but seeing everyone on the plane pray like their lives were at stake, and clearly it was a cultural thing, I felt anxiety in that moment. But I didn't come to the conclusion that I now had a fear of flying. It was just I felt anxious in that moment because seeing everyone think about their mortality triggered something in me. But I looked at that as the anomaly. It's like, I'm not afraid of flying, but I felt anxious that time is a better way of framing it than, now I'm afraid of flying and therefore I can't fly. So there is certain things that is really useful. So what we had in this session is what they would need to do in order to make the evaluation they're not afraid of flying anymore. And that would be, being able to sleep while they're flying, or enjoy a good book, or enjoy a good movie, or enjoy, certain elements of it, feel relaxed, be able to have conversations, evaluate that they felt comfortable on the plane. And that would all be evidence that their fear has gone. But also it involves coping strategies. In order to feel anxious, you have to think at some level about the future and be making evaluations. And therefore mindfulness is a really good hack to get out of any temporary feelings of anxiety. If you're fully in the moment, and that just means experiencing your senses based on what you're experiencing in that moment, not in the past, not in the future, but in that moment, is a good way to really make it very difficult to feel anxious at all because you're invested in the moment. And there are certain things like watching a movie or reading a book that gets people in natural trance states anyway. So if you're totally immersed in a book, you probably don't realize you're turning the pages. And therefore, for that moment, you're in the story and not on a plane. So there's various things going on here. So if you have a fear of flying, you might get some value from this session. I've got lots of other sessions on my podcast as well about fear of flying, but they're all created for specific individuals. So if you want a bespoke session for you, there'll be a link in the show notes. You click that, book a free Zoom consultation call with me, and we can have a chat about working together. For now, though, you may just get value from this and not need to work with me directly. So find a quiet, comfortable place where you won't be disturbed, relax, and enjoy the session. Take a deep breath in. And as you breathe in a resourceful feeling of calm and relaxation. And as you exhale, feel a wonderful sense of letting go. Breathing in relaxation and exhaling any feelings of tension, stress, or worries. For a lot of people, stress seems to congregate around the jaw, the neck, and the shoulders, sometimes around the forehead. Whereas anxiety feels more like deep in the gut. Then just imagine as you're breathing in that resourceful relaxation, imagine it melting away any stress or anxiety, just like snow melting under sunshine. And feel how good it would feel for any of that stress or anxiety to feel like it's leaving your body in your outward breath. As you breathe in and breathe out, I wonder if you could use the power of your imagination to imagine observing escalators, perhaps in a shopping center or even an airport. Escalators that go up and down. And I want you to see the rhythmic movement of those escalators. Maybe see them side by side, see one going up as the other goes down. Get a sense of opposing forces, different directions simultaneously. As you breathe in and breathe out, get a sense that sometimes sensations in your body can feel similar. Maybe your arms can feel heavy and loose in one moment, and then light and floaty in another. And as you stare into these escalators, I want you to recall the time where something used to make you feel anxious. And maybe there was a time that you would avoid certain things because you didn't like how it made you feel. But continue to stare into those contrasting directions of the escalators. As you get a sense that sometimes something can affect you emotionally, affect your thoughts, and then it doesn't. I want you to get a sense that there was a time when you couldn't do something or didn't want to do something, and now do that thing with ease. And just imagine these escalators are connected to a busy airport. I want you to imagine walking up to the escalators and allowing them to take you all the way up to a level. And as they do so, imagine yourself accessing a higher state of consciousness. As the escalator enables you to rise, you feel deeper and deeper relaxed. Imagine you're now approaching that next level higher in that airport, a vast terminal, and get a sense that there is a quiet excitement in the air. Passengers walking with purpose. Maybe there's a distant sound of announcements. That sound that luggage trolleys and suitcases make when it's being wheeled around. I want you to get a sense that you know the destination you're about to go to. Perhaps you could imagine seeing a boarding pass or a passport in your hand and see the destination on that boarding pass. As you see the destination, smile to yourself. You want to go to that destination. You don't have to. There's no gun to your head saying that you have to go to that destination. You're making a choice to go to that place. So feel a sense of calm anticipation. Feel that you have all of the resources not only to get to that destination, but to enjoy the journey. Imagine all of those necessary steps before you could even board the plane. Approaching security. Perhaps waiting in a lounge area. Maybe there is some kind of passport control or checking of documents. Feel a pragmatic sense that you've done this before, you can do it again. All of this is very manageable. The key thought that seems to be ruminating in your mind: I can do this, I can handle this, no big deal. And as you get to that departure lounge, as you see it getting closer to the time to board the plane, feel a growing sense of positive anticipation that the moment you board the plane, it is a portal, a gateway to new experiences, the creation of new memories, new possibilities, and you feel very ready. Imagine hearing some kind of notification to board the plane. And you do. The anticipation is there. But in the absence of anxiety or fear, you're anticipating the TV shows you're going to watch, the food you're going to taste, the comfort of the chairs, or perhaps things you're looking forward to on that flight. And as you settle into your seat, maybe there's a familiar click of a seatbelt. And notice, in any moment, you can just have that long outward breath to feel in the moment. As the plane makes its way to the runway, glance out of the window, but you have a sense of a different frame of thinking. Your inner dialogue seems confident, assured. I want you to get a sense that The evaluation is that you will enjoy this flight. You don't know where it comes from. It's just a deep sense that not only are you going to be less scared, you're going to be so much more confident that you can enjoy more elements of it. I want you to get a sense that you're now taking off. But you're more interested in the things you get to do. Maybe walk around the cabin, recline your chair, or start watching something or reading something that stimulates you. And notice before long how quickly you feel so comfortable in your seat. And imagine reaching something to engage with. Maybe a TV show or a movie, a film, a book or word search. And notice how quickly you can immerse yourself in that new thing. You realize how easily your mind becomes absorbed, how the world outside fades as what you focus on becomes what you give your attention to. You can't help but thinking that anxiety needs attention to survive, so you will choose to give your attention on those things that give you something positive back in return. Maybe you can imagine watching a show feeling completely drawn into the story, the characters, the emotions. You're fully engaged, so much so that time passes effortlessly. And there'll be moments you even forget you're on a plane at all, because you're in the world that you're experiencing. Perhaps you've found yourself immersed in a book, one that truly captivates you. You don't even realize you're reading the words or turning the pages. You're immersed in the story. You just happen to be flying while you're reading that story. But that's all happening outside of your conscious attention. Or you might decide to enjoy a meal that maybe you've chosen in advance, savoring each bite mindfully. And mindfulness is simply giving something your attention. It could be the smell of the food, the temperature of the food, the taste or texture. If you are aware of any of these sensations, you are mindfully eating. And if you're mindfully eating, your attention is on your experience, not on any other thought at all. And maybe after that meal, you reach for a word search or a puzzle. Not because you need to, you just feel like stimulating your mind. If you're trying to solve a puzzle or find a hidden word, that's where your attention is. And where focus goes, energy flows. As you enjoy these moments, something begins to shift. You realize that if you can enjoy the flight, even in small ways, then there is nothing left to fear. If you can immerse yourself in a book, in a show, in a meal, or in a simple puzzle, then you are not enduring the flight. You are enjoying it. You are flying with ease. You are a confident flyer. There are some people that consider themselves a confident flyer after flying just 3 or 4 times. But if someone has flown over 100 times, that is confidence. You know you can board the flight and get to your destination. As the flight continues, you reflect on this growing sense of comfort. The thinking shifts from, what about the next flight, to a simple reframe. If I can enjoy this flight, I'll enjoy the next one. If I can confidently fly now, I can confidently fly in the future. And I wonder how long it will take until the penny drops. You are no longer afraid of flying. Everyone that takes regular flights has felt anxious once or twice. So feeling anxious on a flight is not sufficient evidence to be afraid of flying. They are the anomalies. You are a confident flyer that every now and then experiences a temporary wave of anxiety that quickly subsides. And the more you think of that, the truer it becomes. You are a confident flyer. As you start to think back on previous flights, you realize something else quite profound. You are far more courageous and resilient than you ever gave yourself credit for. Because even if anxiety was present at times, you still boarded the plane, you still flew, you still chose to embrace the journey. And if anxiety couldn't deter you before, then when you enjoy flying, nothing will stop you from flying again. Every flight you take and have taken, every moment of calm you experience, every book you read, every TV show you watch, every meal you enjoy at that altitude, each one is proof you are free from fear, that you are capable, that you are a confident flyer. And while you're on this imaginary flight, imagine the next flight, a future flight. But this time imagine you're seeing yourself like you're someone else, arriving at the airport smiling, looking relaxed while going through security, feeling excited or just ambivalent while ready to board, and see yourself immersed in things that make you feel calm or enjoy the experience while you're on the flight. You're making the evaluation that the next flight will also be relaxing, calm, and enjoyable. If every flight you take, you not only enjoy the flight, but preempt that the next flight will also be enjoyable, you are creating a powerful, self-fulfilling prophecy that will go on forever. The moment you are enjoying your flight, you evaluate the next flight will be fine. And when the next flight is fine, you evaluate the next flight will be fine. And this can go on indefinitely, creating the very loop that was working against you to now work for you. See yourself as free, capable, making the evaluation as you think about that next flight that you are a confident flyer, and see the evidence of that confident flying in the very thought of your very next flight. And I want you to see something specific. See yourself on a flight where there is some kind of turbulence or movement, but see yourself composed, perhaps unfazed. It doesn't deter you from watching your TV show or reading your book. It doesn't stop you. And perhaps you can imagine other people on the flight looking more anxious than you do. And that just gives you even more evidence that you are a confident flyer. And when you accept this belief to be true, let me know by nodding your head. And now you believe it to be true, you will seek out references and evidence to make it more true. And the more you look, the more you will find evidence that you are a confident flyer. Many people would say 100 flights is more than enough evidence that you are a confident flyer. The more you think about it, the more truer it becomes, and the truer it becomes, the more you feel like a confident flyer. Until before long, it will feel like that other thing that used to make you afraid and no longer does. No difference at all. Imagine landing at your destination, a big smile, feeling like anything is now possible. As you hold on to that feeling of pride, elation, satisfaction, and a deep sense of confidence, it's time to return to the present. So take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your nose. Wiggle your fingers and wiggle your toes. Connect fully into the here and now as I now count from 1 to 10 to awaken you. Starting to count. 1, 2, 3, waking up. 4, 5, 6, more alert. 7, 8, open your eyes, open your eyes. 9, 10, wide awake, wide awake, wide awake.
Thank you for listening to The Hypnotist with Adam Cox, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. To automatically receive the latest episodes, please subscribe. If you'd like to support the show, please share this episode with just one friend you think it could help. And if this episode helped you, please leave us a 5-star review.